Hello everybody, welcome to week 5. I hope that you all have had a chance to look at your papers and the comments. Using Turnitin to grade online is just slightly more time consuming, let's say. There's a few time lags sometimes with getting it to save the changes in the comments, and so in any case, the marking didn't take that long, but the fussing, as is often the case with our technology that's intended to make our world more efficient, sometimes took a little bit longer. So thank you for being patient with me as I sort of muddled through that and got your stuff done and uploaded back into Turnitin and onto our website so that you can have a look at it. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to call me. I'm hoping it's clear, but it's not impossible that there might be some challenges. So please just contact me if you have questions or concerns, if you can't see your paper or whatever. This week, talking about the posts, and I just went through the lecture again and the reading again, and really in terms of sort of connecting what you're learning to the world around you, there are two examples that I think do a nice job of really highlighting this idea that, knowledge is not only power, but that it's constructed and situated where it is by certain groups, and that how we understand knowledge or stories or narratives in the world around us is largely dependent on sort of which group we sit in, where we sit in the world, and that these are not guarantees. The dominant narratives, dominant knowledges are not necessarily sort of containers of truth, as it were. Right? This is not a secured, immutable sort of ideal or tangible thing that we can just know and point to as being truth. That it really does depend on who we are and who the teller is, or the producer of said knowledge. So two social examples from the world that we're currently living in that I think are really relevant and also do a great job of kind of highlighting exactly how this operates if we sort of take a step back and have a good look at it. Number one, the missing and murdered Indigenous women here in Canada. If you take a perusal through the last 2 or 3 decades worth of news reports on missing and murdered Indigenous women, they're not missing necessarily, someone's taken them, something's happened to them. Even just the way that that's titled sort of implies that it's not a willful act against a particular group of people, which indeed it is. Right? They're just missing. It's very passive. In any case, just a sort of a side note about how we construct these narratives right off the bat when we're talking about it. We have a particular view is not necessarily entirely representative of A, the situation, and B, of the view from the people who are actually experiencing this, right, and who are working alongside those families. This narrative has been constructed, I think, by dominant culture in a way that makes larger sort of settler society feel a little bit less guilty, if there's any guilt at all, about what's happening, a little bit less bad, makes it possible to turn the TV channel right from the get-go. Another missing woman. It's a lot less devastating to the psyche, kind of, and a lot less jarring than to hear another stolen woman, another murdered woman, another victim of colonization, the violent colonization fallout. There's any other number of other terms kind of that we could use to characterize exactly what this is, and of course we don't, and that's not by accident. This is a particular discourse that is designed the way that it is, not by accident. When you go through the news sort of media snippets about a number of these individuals, you'll find that they are often categorized in a way that, again, absolves settler society, absolves those of us who are not directly involved in any kind of sort of tangible way of any sort of responsibility or sort of impetus to do something because of who these individuals are. So you'll see that she's characterized as being high risk, a drug addict, sex trade worker, and those would be the terms that I would choose to describe that in. Often the media says prostitute. These are not words that are designed to humanize the individual, to protect her humanity, to allow us to relate and connect with her on any kind of meaningful level. She may be described as a mother, but one that was absent, whose children are in care, haven't seen her. And again, this particular construction of an individual is by design, and that's so that we don't have to feel bad, and we can sort of sit back and remove ourselves from this situation, right? But this is not truth. These characterizations don't represent who someone is. This knowledge is being produced within a particular context for a particular reason, and it's really important to be mindful of that. Particularly because this is a land that has been colonized. There's a whole history of colonization, the fallout of residential schools, the 60s scoop. We've got a lot of things operative here, and so this one particular discourse that's often taken as truthful and it's naturalized. This is how it is. Again, sort of back to the savage, and the primitive. That required rescuing by the white savior. All of these things sort of work together to produce a knowledge about, a discourse, a narrative about missing and murdered Indigenous women that allows us to disconnect and to sort of fall back on, if you will, well, it's just how it is, right? These things are kind of rooted in nature. This is just the way it is. This is how it's always been. That's why we colonized the land. They required our help, and just see, here we go. Like, it's a continued problem. A knowledge that disempowers that others, and maintains a certain, knowledge production process, and also a system of power relations where those who are producing sort of the dominant discourse can rest easy on, the throne of civilization, on being the colonizers, and not really have to worry. This is all just a naturalized, sort of mystified, sort of set of social relations and way of being, and we don't really have to concern ourselves then, in terms of the settler portion of our society, right? It's just not really anybody else's problem. It's those natives. It's the missing women, and that somehow the responsibility lies with them. The second example I want you to think about is, it's in the news right now, super hot topic, is Jian Ghomeshi. Now, I raise this because it's another really hot topic that's been rampant kind of in North America for the last 24 months for sure. We have Bill Cosby, who's got close to 70 accusers. It's been a hot issue all over campuses across North America. There's been a Title IX challenge in the United States that the way sexual assault is being handled on campuses prevents women from being able to access their right to education. Universities in Canada are revamping policies and looking for new ways to train and to address sexual assault. We just revamped our policy last year. Sexual assault, as it were, rape, also follows a particular sort of trajectory. It's a concept and a thing, a narrative that's been constructed by those in power, by the sort of white elite male. It's only really rape if it's penetrative. Did you really say no? What were you wearing? Why were you drinking? All of these kinds of things that cast doubt, and really what is underneath is a very, very powerful story that we all have bought into and all have had some experience with. It suggests that women are not believable, that women cannot be trusted. So, I don't know if any of you have followed any of the news coverage of the Ghomeshi trial. What I can tell you is, I've been on the news a couple times talking about it. I was on last year when the sort of scandal first broke. This has been an ongoing sort of thing. And so yesterday the news called me, we had a conversation, and the subject is kind of emails that had gone back and forth between victims who are currently testifying, survivors that have come forward and have been under interrogation on the stand here the last week, all of last week, and yesterday as well, about their behavior in the aftermath of the assault. So why did you email him? Why did you contact him if you were so traumatized you had sex with him after the alleged assault? And all that I could really say to the news was that what any she, does in the aftermath really has nothing to do with anything, with whether he did or did not commit an assault. It's his behavior that's currently under investigation. And when what we do is focus on what she did, we send a very powerful message that women cannot be believed, that we don't believe them, that women are targets of suspicion, are not trustworthy, and further fail in doing that, in allowing the sort of victim's behavior to become the site of inquest. We fail to acknowledge that women are socialized in a particular way as well. And Lucy Dakota, who's from Trailer Park Boys, one of the victims that came forward and allowed her name to be published, was really strong on stand and said, it doesn't matter. I was a people pleaser. I'm a woman. I was taught to doubt myself. I was taught to make nice. I was taught to take responsibility for social interactions, and we were attracted to each other. We had been on dates. So, my behavior after the fact, whether you understand it or not, right? Like, I was trying to make things okay. And when we don't listen to that, when we don't understand that how a victim behaves in the aftermath, that there is no right way to be a victim, particularly for women, right? If you didn't scream and yell, if you didn't say no, if you didn't cut off contact, if you didn't freak out, have a breakdown, tell everyone you know, go to the police, if you were drinking, if you were attracted to him, if you've been on dates with him before, if you've had sex with him before, there's any number of things but that make you really vulnerable to being seen as suspicious and untrustworthy and therefore not believable. And this is sort of a rampant discourse. It's what I would suggest underlies most cases of this nature. And we don't talk about it. It's not a nice conversation to have. I think most people would be very reluctant to admit that this is what's underneath. But the one gentleman that was interviewing me yesterday said, even my wife is wondering, why she would send emails to him. And I said, you have to remember, they had a relationship. There was a mutual attraction. They'd been on dates. And further to which, it doesn't actually matter. Right? It doesn't matter what she did to try to make herself okay with what happened to her. The question is, did he do what he's being accused of? Because what he's being accused of is criminal. That's all we need to be concerned about. Not if she sent an email, not if she wanted to continue a relationship, not if she was trying to make it okay, not if she felt so uncomfortable with the truth that she denied it and pretended it was something other than what it was. None of those things matter in this particular context, except to say that when we bring them out into the light, as happens all the time in cases of this nature, if we're unwilling to actually look at them and tell the truth about what they are, which is sort of this mystified, taken as natural, this assumption that because of who women are, because of women's biology, because they're women, cannot be trusted. They cannot know for certain what happened to them. They can't be trusted to tell the truth. Maybe she really wanted it. When we don't acknowledge those things, we condemn ourselves to repeating this pattern over and over again. This is a system that's flawed. This lawyer didn't create it. The female survivors that have come forward did not create it. Even he didn't create it. He benefits, but he didn't create it. And this is what underpins the system. And the system is based on ideas of truth and justice. These are ideals. They're taken to be things in and sort of unto themselves that we can really know and understand, and that they are givens. And so I raised this case to ask you to sort of think about what your original reaction might have been to some of this conversation around what's going on in the Ghomeshi trial and what it is now. Because clearly there's, sort of a double narrative going on here. And not everyone is aware of that. And so the way that the story gets played is very much dependent on who is telling that story and where they sit in the sort of social hierarchy, so to speak. So that's it for this week. I hope you have a great week. We are moving into reading week next week, so yay, everyone enjoy. I will be at work, so checking emails and such, so if you need to contact me about assignments or whatever, please go ahead, I'll be here. And I will post another video next week. But enjoy your break. I hope that all of you are going to do something nice and relaxing. And I'll see you back here in the next video, I suppose. Okay, take care.